Hello, welcome back. We are looking at an overview of Romans. We've previously looked at an introduction to the letter Paul wrote to the church in Rome and chapters 1 to 8. And today we're going to look at chapters 9 to 11 and particularly how the gospel is the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel and how his promises now apply to the Gentiles as well. To begin with, Paul expresses his own anguish on the matter of Jews who don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. And this led to Paul explaining a few Jewish historical facts. Firstly, the Torah doesn't say that all ethnic Jews who are descendants of Abraham are by default members of God's covenant agreement. Instead, Paul shows that God has always selected specific descendants of Abraham to pass on his promises, namely Isaac and Jacob and loads of others. And now that line of promise is followed on by those who follow Jesus. And Paul points out that many people, both Jews and Gentiles, have historically not followed God and his ways, but that even when people have disobeyed God, God always uses those situations to bring about his purposes for us. And then Paul shifts on to Jews in the present day, and he explains that many Jews struggle to follow Jesus because they think their salvation is based on their ability to observe the Torah. They are in effect attempting to earn their way into God's presence. And so because they are focusing on their own doing, they're blind to what Jesus has already done for them. Having looked at Jewish history and present, Paul now looks at their future. And here he again answers the question he expects people to ask, namely, has God rejected Israel? And the answer is no. The truth is, many Jews believe in and follow Jesus, but even those who have rejected them, God still uses them to bring about his purposes for all of humanity. Even in the years after Jesus came to earth, when the non-Jesus following Jews oppressed the Jesus followers, God used that moment to spread the gospel over a much greater territory as they ran for safety. And this led the church to become larger and more multi-ethnic. Paul then describes a tree which represents the family of God. And some branches have fallen away, they've fallen off the tree. And they would be to represent Jews who don't follow Jesus. But other branches have been grafted into the tree. And now they get their nourishment from the tree itself. And these would be Gentiles who do follow Jesus. And the section then ends with Paul declaring that Jesus will one day be acknowledged by all Jewish people, although he doesn't explain how or when it would happen. It's as though he trusts that God won't give up on the people that have meant so much to him. And so for us, here at Sheffield Vineyard, it brings us to our current time. Over the last 3 years, we've been looking in detail at the three sections that I've previously talked about. And you can hear all those talks online by going to sheffieldvineyard.org and then going to the talks bit, which is under the Vineyard Life tab at the top of the page. On the right hand side, you'll see a list of talks, and if you click on Romans, there you'll get to see 3 years worth of talks on Romans. Now this coming Sunday, we are resuming our talks on our Romans series, and we will be completing the book. And so, in the meantime, tomorrow we're going to look at the final section of our overview. And so I really hope to see you again then. Thanks for now.